Hello and welcome. This is day 3 of the Update Your Game challenge, and we are live streaming today. Right. So for any of you on the live, you can find the day 1 and day 2 of this challenge on YouTube, on the gamedev Alice challenge, gamedev Alice channel. All right, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so yesterday we got a few things working. So here we go. Day 2, we ended up working on the enemy movement, and we figured out how to chain the systems properly so that they run as expected. And yeah, some more enemy stuff. We do have some things to solve here when it comes to the enemy. Like when the player dies, their position doesn't get reset, so the enemy just kind of stays on top of them. So we'll do that today. Yeah, I'll go ahead and run this. First, I'll start the signaling server so that the two browsers can find each other. And yeah, should take a few seconds. And then, yeah, let's open this. And let's open a second one. They should find each other. I may need to refresh because they were in separate tabs. When they end up as tabs on the same browser, they don't seem to work that well. Oh, you know what? I forgot to start the signaling server, or I used the wrong command. Okay. So they should connect. Refresh these. All right, here we go. So the enemy is just, yeah. Also, the enemy is really fast, so we'll slow him down, and then maybe scale up the speed based on, you know, how high the scores are. But yeah, the enemy is just the same speed as the player, so it's just really hard to get away from. Okay. All right, so let's see, enemy. Maybe for now, we can just get the speed in half, just to make things maybe a little bit easier to test. Whereas, okay, max speed divided by magnitude divided by 2. Oh, wait a second. Okay. I guess I have to divide this as well. We did want to have a separate max speed for the enemy, so we'll probably create another constant for that. But yeah, for now, we'll just divide by 2. Yeah, and yeah, we'll work on this more later. So what I want to do now is reset the player positions when they die. So we have the update scores here. That is both detecting death because it needs to reset the score, and it's incrementing the score. These used to be two separate systems, and now it's one. So it deals with the scores. So I guess I could have another system. I mean, I could do it directly in here, but I like keeping this system small. So I'll create another. I think I'll create another system for resetting the player position, and I'll have a very similar query um, to detect when the player is dead. Let's see if yeah, it will detect if the player is inside the enemy radius. It will just reposition the player. We'll have to make sure that it runs after the update scores, though. Otherwise, they'll get teleported before um, before they die. We definitely want that to happen after. Yeah. So we'll do respawn player. Yeah. Respawn player. And let's see. So we need to query the player's position, that's for sure, and the enemy position. So we have maybe a few ways of doing this. Since we're already detecting that the player died and resetting the score to 0, we could, yeah, we could do it when the score hits 0, we respawn the player, so we don't have to check for the enemy position again. Thing is, players start with the score of 0, so they will immediately get teleported to a new location, but maybe that's fine. So they'll, yeah. I mean, ideally we'd want some kind of event, you know, player death event, and then we can do all sorts of stuff based on that event. But I think this is maybe the only thing. If we end up having to do something else when the player dies, I think we'll implement an event then. But for now, I think this is all I need. So, yeah, so I can access the score. I don't need, I need to mutate the transform, yes, not the score, but I need to read it. And we want it to be player and not enemy. Yeah, let's see, do we have maybe a syntax error somewhere? Or not, I'm not sure. Oh, wrong place. All right, and we'll add our respawn player system into here, and we'll make sure it happens after update scores. All right, and we're going to query the players. Almost the same as we did here. Yeah, the score is not mutable. The transform is. Closing brace. Okay, so whenever a player's score hits 0, match closing delimiter. Where does this one go? I need to close the function. Okay. All right. Yeah, if the score.current is 0, that means it just got reset because that system ran right before this. So that means the player is dead. And again, I really want to use some kind of event for this, but yeah, we'll see if we need to do anything else about the player's death. Player transformed translation. Oops. Translation equals, and that'll be a vec3. New. Okay, so how do we pick the position? We want the position to be random, but not too close to the enemy. Although the player dies immediately, it's not that big of a deal because they wouldn't be, I mean, they would just respawn somewhere else. But yeah, first we need a random position and it needs to be within the plane. How is the initial position calculated? I wonder. So the player is this the player? No, not high enough. The enemy was further down. Transform. And here we're doing the y is cube size divided by 2. So since everything's flat, we definitely need that. The x and the z. Okay, everyone's starting like in a circle, evenly from the center. Right? Yeah, so that doesn't really matter for this because the player is going to respawn at a random location and the enemy is not in the center anyway, so this isn't so relevant. We don't want them to respawn at the same spot every time also, so yeah, we'll pick a random x and z that is smaller than the plane size divided by 2 or something. All right. Should I just do it like this instead of that? And then random. I have to import a library. Actually, maybe Bevy has something. Maybe not. I thought it did though. Oh, it's like math. So yeah, I'll just get I think it's gonna be the rand crate. And what I'm looking for is do I want to, I guess I want to float. So I want something like this. I mean, this is what I would execute, and then this I'd have to put this in the resource so that I can access it and do this. So I could do this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Bevy has random Bevy RNG. All right. Yeah, how do I access it though? Maybe I need to enable it somehow. Yeah, it's just using rand, but I guess it has it in a resource. And I guess I need to add this crate, probably. Where's the, okay, I'll go look at the source. Okay, yeah, it's just, this is a separate crate. Yeah, should I use this or should I just make my own system? I think maybe I'll just make my own. It's not very much used, but it is simple enough. Yeah, so I'll create a system. I really feel like Bevy has something that does this, but okay. Not a system, a resource. And I'll stick this RNG inside the resource. So, all right, the resource, I can create it maybe in here. After the score, maybe. After the components. Yeah, I'll create it here. All right, so it's going to be similar to this. Oh, hold on a minute. So does this mean we need to synchronize the randomness? Maybe we don't because we're synchronizing the positions. So yeah, it doesn't have to. Yeah, the peer-to-peer network maybe doesn't need to come up with the same random number every time. Or does it? Because what will happen is we're going to do this for all players. So if a player dies, we're going to reset their position, but they're going to reset it to something different. So yeah, we do need it to be in sync. Yeah, this might be a bit weird. I wonder if Matchbox has something. Yeah, I wonder if they have any documentation about this. Probably not. They don't have that much. Oops. Let's see what would have some randomness. Maybe shooter. That's just the example. In place, what I want is the repository, and there's no link to that, but maybe here because they are the developers of that. Yeah, probably just overthinking this. Let's just implement it and See what happens. All right. Random generator. And what we want inside is this, right? G. And that's going to be, what's the type of this? I need to import the library first. 0.85, that's the latest. Dependencies. All right, so I'll add this here. And it goes 0.8. 0.8. Great. And then rand should exist now. So maybe we don't need this. I'm wondering because they have a random that gives you Boolean without having to seed it or anything like that, which I assume is what this does. But yeah, we might need this for, okay. Yeah, I think, I don't know. Doesn't need, yeah, we'll see what's available in rand. Should have access to rand now. And it's just random here. That function exists, I think it does. Okay. If I use this though multiple times, it'll always give me the same result. So I'm wondering. We want to float 32. So if I don't have to create a resource for this, that would be nice. So let's go down and do this here. And we need to float 32. Oop, not a float 34. That does not exist. So and this is called player transform. All right, and I think it's happy. No, it's not happy. Expected F32 found function. I didn't call it. May need 2 more semicolons, so not. Sometimes it's generic. So okay, maybe it is happy. All right. So if I'm not mistaken, this should get us the position that we want. I mean, a random position. Maybe not necessarily a good one, but yeah, actually, definitely not this is definitely not good because this could be any number. You want to constrain it between two values. So there's probably another function, or use an integer or something. Okay. Well, it's already running, so I'm wondering if the player movement will actually constrain it anyway. Well, might need to refresh again. Okay. All right. Well, it's respawning pretty close to the enemy. Ah, okay. The value right now is between 0 and 1. So we need to scale it up to be within the plane, like within a bigger area. I incorrectly assumed that the number could be bigger than 1. Yeah, it's just generating from 0 to 1. So, okay, perfect. So what we want to do now is multiply by plane size. Right, but the plane size, that's the whole size. Right, from 0 to 1. Actually, I'm not sure if this is 0 to 1 or -1 to -1 to 1. Let me take a look at this again. Did it lose sync? Looks like it lost sync. Why is the position always seem relative to the enemy? Okay. It's always near the enemy. Let's try again. Oh, it's over here. Oh, 0, 0 all the way there? I thought the enemy started at 0, 0. Oh, wait, no, 0, 0 is here. So it's from 0 to 1. It's going from 0 to 1. 0, 0 is here, and then it's always spawning in this area. The enemy kills me here. Yeah. Okay. So what we want is negative half the plane size to positive half the plane size. So yeah, we do want to multiply by the plane size. And then take the whole thing and subtract half the plane size. That'll offset it back to the right place. And I don't need these parentheses, but because of order of operations, but I find it's just a little bit easier to read, so that's the only reason the parentheses are there. Right, so plane size is 5. Okay. So now it should spawn the player anywhere on the plane, which may end up being near the enemy, or it may not. The blue really spawned all the way in the corner. Oh, something's out of sync. Yeah. So that's the thing with randomness. So the randomness is not, it's not deterministic. Like, it depends on the local machine, what the values to be generated. So like I'm moving here, but we're not in the same position. They've lost sync. And when I move, I'm incrementing the position. If I wasn't, it would just like kind of snap back. Yeah, even the enemy's out of sync now. Because the enemy's following the player. I mean, it's target, yeah. Okay. So we learned something. Randomness is not easy to synchronize. All right. So if we can't use random, or if we can use random, we would have to have some way of deciding, okay, who's right about the randomness. Or if we could do this in a deterministic way, because it doesn't really need to be random. It just needs to be different every time. Yeah, and maybe that's just based on the score. So score is in sync. So if we did, let's see, could we somehow use the score to, if we did a modulus on the score, it's not really random, but let's just call it random. Let random equals the score dot, well, the score dot current is 0. The high score is almost always not 0. As soon as you get to 1, the high score is different. But then it's also not always changing. So what we want is maybe the frame number. Get it? Oh yeah, here, frame count. So I think this will make it a lot easier if we use the frame count. Frame count. Is it dot frame or something? Count dot frame. There's no dot counts, but let me just double check that to be sure. Yeah, that's what we're using. All right, so we'll use this. We'll do a modulus over it. So the values can be, maybe between 0 and 99. Right? And then now that we have a random value between 0 and 99, we'll take that and divide it by 100 as a float, so that it doesn't get truncated. I think it's not happening. It's not okay. Divide U32. Right. I need to convert this to a float. But what's the result of this? This is a U32, right? Okay. If I do as I32, I think I can actually divide that. No, I can't. Following other types implement trait I32 with a, okay. How do I, okay. I wonder if I do modulus with a decimal number, what that will give me. I don't think that would work. Yeah, you can't mod by float. Okay, but I know I want this. I want this number. And yeah, maybe I don't need to divide because I'm multiplying here. I can multiply. Yeah, let's just instead of divide by 100, we'll multiply by 0.01. That should make it happy. No, it still doesn't. F42. Will it allow me to do that? Okay. It's not truly random, but yeah, frame count should change quite often. I mean, over a period of 3 seconds, it should, or a few seconds, it should go through the whole range. And maybe 100 is too high, but we'll try it like this. Random value, and we need a different random value here, because otherwise the x and the y will always be the same. So what should we do? So maybe we just offset it. Although, yeah, they'll always be related if I do that. Yeah, because if they're always the same value, we'll end up with just positions along. Yeah. Oh, I have an idea. What if we did something like with the how the player positions are initially, actually? They're like in a circle. What was it? Yeah, with cosine sine, the position is based on the number of players. It will place them evenly around the center. So if I did this, players would always spawn somewhere along the circle. But I wouldn't need to have 2 separate random values. So I think I'll do this, at least out of curiosity of what this could give me. But yeah. So, all right, if I do it like this, divide by number of players, we want more than the number of players options around that circle. So like, how many different positions could be along that circle? Maybe like, I don't know, 12. Is that enough? 36. I mean, it doesn't even have to be divisible by by 4. It could just, yeah, I'll just do 360. Here's 360 degrees. And handle is going to be our random value here. All right, so random value is a value in between 1 and 100. Oh, I think these need to be the same. Like how many possible positions? Possible positions. There's 100 possible positions around. If there's 100 possible positions around that circle, then we want to do it like this. I could be completely wrong here. What is R? I have to find that out. Maybe we don't need 100. Maybe 50 is enough. Or like 90, like 90 degrees. And possible position is one value. And also, yeah, what is this R? I need that R. Set up system. R. Oh, okay. R is the radius. So, yeah, I do a bigger radius here. And instead of by 4, if I do plane size divided by 2, it'll be all around like kind of like the outside of the plane where players respawn. which I think is okay. I don't know why I set this to 9, just a bit 100 hours before. And R is radius. All right. Create a random position along a circle. All right, and so instead of all this, we'd have X and Z. Set position. Yeah. And I think this will be enough to keep it in sync, because now every player will have the same result, they'll have the same calculation. Yeah. Yeah, so it's important for it, like this system relies on determinism. So every player can calculate the state on their own and arrive at the same result. If we have randomness, then that's not going to be consistent between peers. All right. Looks pretty good, actually. They're not responding close in general, even though I didn't specify any kind of logic for that. And actually, I'm kind of surprised at how close to the corners they can spawn. But I guess it is a circle, so circle this kind of maybe kind of arcs. Yeah, I mean they're pretty close to the edge. Maybe the circle's bigger than I thought. I mean that's fine. I don't mind that. But land size divided by 2. Yeah. I mean I'm fine with it. Refresh this. It could just be the angle of the camera making it seem like it's like, yeah, see, there is a bit of space there. Okay, so that's pretty good. And so maybe we play with the speed of the enemy, because right now it's pretty easy to avoid. Like if both players were playing, could easily avoid this. So maybe keep making him faster, and we'll still limit him to the player speed so that maybe he can't go faster than the player. That might be a bit too unfair. Yeah, I said he, but really it's just a red sphere. It's genderless. All right, so the enemy speed. Enemy, it's gonna be like enemy movement. Move any, okay. And we cut the speed in half somewhere here. All right, so you can even start the speed even less. Yeah, we could have like a speed multiplier and have the speed multiplier be related to the high score. There. Well, yeah, I guess instead of dividing, we'd be multiplying. That's fine. Equals 0.5. We'll start even, I think I want to start it even lower than 0.5. Like 0.25 or 0.1. And the speed would be based on the highest score, maybe. Well, if we do it like this, like it won't increase indefinitely, right? Well, we could if we increase it beyond 1. Should it increase linearly, or maybe because at some point it would just be too hard and it would go. I kind of want to have like a limit curve. You know, maybe when it approaches the max speed but never actually reaches it. Maybe. Yeah, so well, first we need to know what's the highest score. We'll need to loop through this. Or maybe we could catch the score here actually. Let top score. All right, and player top score. Set player. Oh, okay. So I want to set the value of this variable to be at the highest score. So we're doing all the players. If player score dot high score is greater than top score, then top score equals right. What's on here? Expected. Oh, I don't have an if. All right, so we got the top score, and we're going to use that for the multiplier. So multiplier 0.1 times, well, the top score yeah, I gotta find a way to multiply these floats with those. What did I do before? Oh, I think I just casted it. Was that it? Yeah, so, okay. Think about this a little bit. So the top score, so a top score, I'm not sure how many frames, like what's the rate of the frames that happen, but it's going to be like probably anywhere from 30 to 60. And say it's 60, or let's just say 50 to, or let's say 100 just to get a rough estimate here. So if 100 is 1 second, if a score of 100 represents staying alive for 1 second, then this would mean you'd reach the speed of 1 after 1 second, which is the max speed. Well, the player's max speed. Now, with this, we're not constraining it, so yeah, so this is not good at all. What we want, though, is, I guess we need to add more zeros. If I add 2 zeros, then that's after 100 seconds, it would reach the max speed. So maybe we could start with that. And let's see, there's a function mul. Can I do this? Oop. Or is that going to be the same? Yeah, it's not good. I'll look this up real quick. This is probably really easy to solve. Rest float multiply integer. So I just got to cast the integer as a float. Okay. As I think we're working with 32s here, so we don't need this. All right, there we go. All right, so this is about 100 seconds to reach max speed, and then it's going to get really hard because it's going to keep getting faster. Do we want a maximum speed? Like, do we want to maybe just because if the game goes on long enough, yeah, I mean, it might be kind of funny. But okay, let's cap it to something like so high that we can still have funny situations. If speed multiplier is greater than 1, well, 1, okay, greater than 1, that would mean we're limiting it to the max speed. Multiplier equals, yeah, that speed limit and let's just replace these ones here so we could change the speed easily. So let's say we let the speed limit be like 10 times faster than the player, just for fun. It's mutable. Right, if this, okay, speed semicolon. All right, is that it? It is mutable. Speed multiplier. Okay. Speed limit is not actually mutable. Well, it doesn't need to be. All right, so should still be able to get to crazy fast. It takes like 100 seconds to get there. That's like over a minute and a half just to get to the player speed. I want to speed this up a bit. I should probably make this a little bit easier to set. Maybe you could set the seconds. But for now, I'll leave it like this. So now I should only take about 10 seconds to get to the player speed. It's because it would take a long time to test otherwise. All right, we'll get these ready. And is it going to refresh on its own? I think I need to do it. Okay, that's really slow. I mean, it's slow enough that I can switch players. Okay, now it's getting faster. Oh, I got us both. Is it prioritizing me? Because I have the highest score. Which one am I? Am I player 1 or 2? It should be prioritizing me. Oh, not anymore. It's kind of a bit hard to do because it's getting pretty fast. Is it still speeding up? Kind of feels like it's still going at my speed. I can still dodge it. Oh, I think, did it prioritize the other guy? Or I just got close? Okay. Okay, it's getting pretty fast. Yeah, I can see it speeding up still. Or maybe I'm just imagining things. But yeah, I think speed limit's not too bad actually. I don't think it's speeding up too quickly either. Yeah, it's pretty fast. It's probably fast. Yeah, it's faster than me if I go in a straight line. But if I kite, then I can dodge it that way. Which is kind of cool because it makes it swing around like this, makes it maybe more dangerous for other players. And then it changes targets. Yeah. Okay, this is pretty cool. All right. So I'm gonna leave it like this. Yeah. So what are we gonna do next? What are we gonna do tomorrow? The score order. Maybe it's not really like I did want this the player number to be at the top, like the highest score to be at the top. And maybe some indication of like which player you are, because the only way to know right now is, oh, look at that. He can't kill me. I'm not even moving. Because he's going so fast. It's because he's going so fast. And then with the velocity and the friction, he's okay. Well, this is an exploit that people could take advantage of. Yeah. So maybe we'll think about. It's like an orbit around me. All right. So yeah, so the order of the scores, identifying which player I am, and yeah, and then this thing here. Maybe we have multiple enemies. That might be interesting, with like different behaviors on each one. We could the logic would all still work. We would just spawn multiple enemies on start, and maybe make a little bit of variance on the rules. Like maybe that would make it too hard. I don't know. Could make the enemy smaller if there's multiple of them. But yeah, all right. So that's what we can have for today, and yeah, if you enjoyed watching this, like, share, subscribe, and let me know what else you want to see. We'll see you tomorrow for day 4, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.